Caitlin. I have discovered something new about this paint, and it's that it stinks. Do not appreciate that part of it. Hello, Q. Oh, good. I'm glad it's okay. I'm still trying to decide how I want the setup to work. I'm not quite happy with it, but I'm just mostly seeing if it even works, or if it just looks strange, or big learning curve. What I really just wanted was for people to have a chance to look at the palette, because I feel like that's an important part of the painting process. So that's the goal with that. I really have no idea what I'm doing with this paint. It's so weird. The whole instantly drying thing is very weird. Whew. That didn't really help much, did it? Not instantly drawing, instantly drying. These parts are already dry, so the blending time on the canvas is like nil. You do not have a chance to mess with it once it's down. I'll be right back. I need a different water thing. So if you're trying to learn to paint, maybe choosing choosing the stream where the artist is experimenting with a new medium is maybe not the best way. But I wanted to see if I could understand this a little better myself. So for instance, is this going to paint over these printer lines is what I want to know. Yeah, there's no media that I feel comes naturally to me that does not allow you to mess with it on the page. Which is why I never got into acrylics at all. There are retarders for acrylics, but to me it's like, well, at that point, if I'm trying to make them act like something else, why don't I use something else? And these paints, they're a lot more like acrylics than they are like gouache, despite the name. So what scale and media are you working with, Gadget Man? This is surprisingly opaque. All right. Stay put. You gotta turn everything. Turn, 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 always turning. This is so weird. I really don't know what to make of it. But long ago I was reading a book about why French children eat vegetables. And the one thing I still remember about that book was that it said that you have to try things 3 times before you know whether you like them or not, because those initial attempts you're far more involved with how different it is from your expectations, and it's too hard to get past that this is different and weird to see if you actually like it. So ever since then, I have tried to give anything new to me at least 3 times opportunity before I decide that it's not for me. So this will be the second painting I'm trying with this medium, and I guess we'll see if I find some good stuff about it. Yeah, I can actually still see the lines underneath them a little bit. It's not as opaque as the camera might be making it look. Admittedly, this is a printout of a sketch, so if I mess it up completely, it's not going to be a problem. Ooh, resin, metal, and plastic. Boy, I wouldn't even know where to start with that. So, like, I wanted her to glow, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because it just dries so fast. So I guess I'll just wing it. I honestly didn't have a plan for the color scheme on this one, which is another problem. But I just wanted to dive into it because it's too easy to be like, you know what, I have to have a perfect idea of what I'm going to do in order to start, and then you never start. So I'm like, I'm just gonna dive into it, and if it turns out horribly, I'll still have learned something. So I guess instead of having her glow, I'll just improvise here. The other thing is these paints are a lot more like acrylics than they are like gouache, in the sense that you use up a lot of them. So I don't know if I'd like to get through the actual set that I have, and you know, if the pictures are of any size at all, it won't take too many of them to go through all those tubes. Not an economical choice compared to something like watercolors. So, and the other problem being that they dry on the palette unless you have a super special palette like this one. Have I talked about this palette? I don't know if there's a wrong way to use them. I think I certainly wouldn't be qualified to tell you whether you're doing it wrong because I don't know what I'm doing. So have I talked about this palette yet? Because if not, I should mention it. Also, don't do what I'm doing and mix things on the palette with a brush. That's a really bad habit. Lol. Tell me about a palette. Okay, let's see. So for things like acrylics that dry quickly, that you want to keep loose, you can get the one I have is a Masterson Stay Wet, and what it is basically is a thin sheet, and you dip it in water, and then underneath it there's a sponge, and you wet the sponge, and then you put the wet paper on top, and then you have a cover for it, and then that keeps it from drying out for a few days. And I discovered today, if you're not careful, it can start smelling like mold. So keep the sponge clean. Clean out the sponge every time you use it. The sponge will stain, but you can at least rinse it out with hot water. Oh gosh. Well, I have a steady hand, but I don't think I've ever had a steady enough hand for something that small. mostly because I get straight lines by moving my shoulders instead of my hands. So if what I'm trying to draw or paint in is too small for me to get a good angle on it, then I can't use my shoulders, and then my hands aren't steady enough. You know, I love the ones I have for my gouache. And I use a butcher tray for oil painting, which I enjoy a lot. It works very well. I hope to get back to oil painting soon. I have a couple of things planned. But I wanted to try this first because I thought maybe this will be awesome and I'll have a new alternative. But this acts a lot more like acrylics than it does like anything I'm good at. So the learning curve on getting these to the right place would probably take me a while. I'm also using very old junky brushes because I don't want to sacrifice my expensive sables to something that smells a little like plastic. I don't know what the binder is on these, but I don't think they're normal, organic something. Copper. Oh, you know, that makes sense. I've heard the copper trick. I just never needed to use it because none of the mediums I have really need this kind of special treatment. All right. I guess that's okay. All right. Sorry about turning it, but I need it for the shoulder thing. Also, I think this leg is broken here. I'll have to fix it. We'll be able to test the opacity of the white then. I used to paint miniatures in high school, but I was terrible at it, which is kind of amusing. Everyone assumed I'd be great at it, and I'm like turning out things that look like some 5-year-old got a hold of it. Some skills are not transferable. All right, let's see. The other thing is it's really annoying that it doesn't keep a straight edge very well. Like the color feathers off of the brush a lot more often than I'm used to. But you know, this is all stuff you're used to. You can get good at anything if you spend enough time on it. Yeah, I have that soap too. I really like it. But I still prefer to use them with mediums that are more organic than this. I don't know, it's superstitious, I'm sure, but I had such a heart attack when there was that sable shortage that I've gotten very overly protective of the ones I have. And I think the sable shortage has ended in the sense that we're importing sable brushes again, but they're Russian, so I think I should be protective once again, just in case. You know, if you enjoy it and it's relaxing, it doesn't really matter how good you are at it, I think, anyway. All right, how do I want to handle this part? Maybe, you know, I really think it maybe lends itself to a more That's the word I want. Illustrative style rather than a naturalist style. Maybe I'll just lean into that and see what happens. So that would mean I would do something like that and play up the sharp edges. Well, yes. Yes, it has. And I'm really picky about brushes, so to me, not having the ones that I like available is like a really big deal. They kind of become extensions of your fingers. So it's like, oh, I've amputated a finger if one of them isn't working right. You know, they always claim the synthetics are, the latest synthetic is going to be comparable to the animal original, and it never is, never. I keep trying them, and it's like, no guys, sorry. A for effort, I guess, but no. But I do like Rosemary and Company. I've heard good things about them. All mine are Spanish, I think. But I did get the catalogs from Rosemary for a long time. It's just that the shipping was killing me. They're just, it's a UK company, isn't it? So it was quite expensive to get anything from them. Let's see. Well, it's getting there. Let's see, what do I got down here? Since I'm going to do this the hard way or the easy way, depending on how you... Let's see. There we go. Always check the sides of your hands before you put them down. I have a real challenge figuring out how I wanted the color on this to work, because I wanted it to be like a harsh battlefield, but I also didn't want it to be ugly. So I'm like, I don't particularly want to draw like a super dark, ugly colored thing. So I guess we'll see what happens as I keep going. Boy, this stuff just acts so weird. You know, painting is one of the few things that I find mostly effortlessly enjoyable. It can be frustrating sometimes, but it's relaxing compared to, say, sketching. Sketching is where all the hard work gets done, I think, for me anyway. So weird to be able to lean my hand on it this early. I mean, it's dry. It's strange. All right, I gotta fix this part. See, I'm already done with all the globs that I put in of this. No, I don't want magenta. That would be a little over the top. of this violet and the ultramarine are basically gone. So I don't really think these tubes are going to last long. All right, let's see. It's just such a weird texture. I'm sure all the people who like acrylics are like, what's wrong? It's perfect. It's not hard to use at all. It's definitely interesting to not be good at something, though, that you assume you should be good at. And I kind of like that experience. So this is a good thing. So I need a bigger brush. Oh, but this one's all white. Do not want to get white in the background. Let's see. So weird. Probably should have put a ruler to that. I wonder if I could paint over it, or if the white is not opaque enough. Be an interesting experiment. Just look at that feathering. It's just kind of annoying. Oh, I'm sorry. It's interesting. It's challenging. Challenging. How's everybody doing? Huh? I guess it's Saturday night already? Saturday night here anyway. It's been raining like crazy. That's nice. I got a nice sharp line out of it. All right. I think I've basically gotten the outlines down. Have to decide if unicorns have glowing blood or not. I don't know. Ooh, that was bad. I have to fix that. Oh my gosh, that's right. You're on the other side of the pond. Not sure how I feel about the super ultramarine background, but I can always make it less saturated later. $3.15, that's pretty good. Ooh, you know I'm bouncing this camera a lot, sorry. We're thinking about mounting it on the wall instead of my desk so it won't shake anymore. You know, the background is almost more interesting than the actual subject, which is interesting. I think it's the shape of it. Oh, good. What are you working on? Out of purple already, again. No, I don't. I didn't plan anything that specifically scientific. I think the idea was that this part is blue, and I added some purple to it just to change shift the coloration a little, and then I'm like, well, red is part of purple, so I can do some kind of gradient if I just add more red. So I'm afraid that's the only connection I had in mind. Very strange texture thing. Let's see. How do I want to handle? I don't even know how I want to handle the ground. Don't know. Do you like purple? All right. I'm not sure I really like the color, so I'm going to make it suffer a little. Oh yes, chainmail. You're a brave woman. And I broke all my promises. So easy. Okay, so I feel like the ultramarine blue was too pure, so I'm using a Prussian blue on top of it that is got more green in it, and I have no idea how that's going to work because these layers are opaque, so are we even going to be able to see through that? I don't know. I just might end up with a pure Prussian blue on top, and that's going to be strange. I literally don't know what I'm doing with these things. Kind of fun, into the unknown, sort of. Oh, they just dry instantly. It's just like freakish. But I think that works better than what I had before. Let's see. Oh, that's much better, I think. Oh my gosh, cotton candy. That sounds terrible. Why yes, my warriors always wear cotton candy into battle. So much better than chainmail. often use Prussian blue instead of black when I want black or something to look black, because it's a very nice dark color that reads as black to a lot of people. I used to have these debates with my art advisor, and he said, you should try to make blacks out of colors, because otherwise they look too dead. And that's sometimes the case. Well, it's often the case. But it can also be like if you use too many colors to make the black, it just looks like mud. So you have to sort of be careful. It's very weird. Better hope that white is opaque, because I have a lot of fixing to do there. No, I haven't. Ooh, tell me about these paints. I would like to know more. Oh, yes, actually I have some of those in my closet, but I have not actually used them because they are, what is the word I want? They're really more like acrylics, and I don't really use much acrylic, so but I do have their black, super black. And maybe one day I'll find a use for it. I don't know. All right, let's see. I think the Prussian blue helped a lot. It's sort of hard to see, I think, through the camera. But the layers have height and texture, so when I am looking at it with physical eyes, there's like noticeable differences in the texture that I think are actually kind of cool. You don't get a lot of textural changes with gouache. It's pretty flat. All right, so now how do I want to handle the inside of the circle? I just don't know. So I should probably just see what I can do with the unicorn. I think I might have the 2.0 because that's when it was sent to me. I think I want, they have a cheating blue here. Let's see. They do, they have a sky blue. Now I do not like that sky blue at all. Yikes. Way too green. Ugh. I'll just add some of this other blue into it. All right, that's better. All right, let's see. Where do I want? All right, the light is this way. Boy, no easy hard edges with this at all. What is that? Stop feathering. Sorry about the turning, but I can't not turn it. Let's see. Let's see. Nope. Wow. That just does not flow at all. If I put more water on it, it flows easier, but then it's not opaque. It's kind of interesting. Maybe it would work differently with a medium, but I don't have any mediums with me. What brand? These are Holbein. Because I heard that they make a good acrylic gouache, and I wanted to get, you know, one of the ones that was considered professional grade, because I don't think it's a fair test otherwise. Yeah, we need to mount the camera on the wall, I think. Definitely just trying to get back into the habit of streaming, which I lost after the 2000s, when I was no longer stuck at home. It's not as opaque as I thought it would be. Come on, cover that stuff up. Now, horses don't actually have legs that work this way, but that's okay. It's not a horse. Come on, cover up the lines, cover them up. All right, let's see the leg. I'm not sure which of these legs is in front of the other one. I guess I'll have to decide that at some point. All right. Oops. Stick there, please. Thank you. Oh, I hear the rain has returned quite powerfully. Ooh, that's just horrible. I'll fix it. Fix it and it sort of blends. That's really weird. Wow. It's like the only part of this painting that's going to be blended. It's going to make it look strange. Let's see. It's better. Let's see if we can get the hair in. More layers. No, I think it's some weird combination of how much water is in it at the time. But if you put too much water in it, it's no longer opaque. So it's, I don't know, maybe you put the opaque layer on the bottom and then the top layers you make it more watery. I don't know. That's kind of one of the things I'm trying to figure out. But it was a good suggestion. I think you might be onto something, maybe. I gotta say though, this stuff does not smell good. I love the smell of oils, and gouache doesn't smell like much of anything at all. But these things smell very strange. Stop feathering. No feathering. Do not want the feather. Are those also acrylic gouache, or are they normal acrylics? I think after I finish messing with these and seeing how I feel about them, as I said, because I try to give them at least 3 tries before I decide whether or not to keep going on something. I think I might do more oil painting experiments because those were fun and I enjoyed them. I love oil paints because it's almost like carving. It's not really like painting. Well, it's getting there. Not too bad, given that I just started it, 40 minutes ago. Yeah, well, supposedly the reason why these are good is because they can be thinned with water the way gouache is. But I do not have much luck with that, apparently. Now, the water-soluble oils that I've been using kind of do work with water. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Kind of want to continue messing with it to see what happens. Ooh, this is way too dark. Kind of like it, but it's very very different style than I usually work in. Let's see. Let's see if I can get the horn here. This is more hair. happened there. But I'll have to fix it. Oh, but I've used them and I love them actually. I don't actually use the water soluble part while painting though. I use it while cleaning up. To thin them while I'm working on with them, I use a medium. But you know, you do that with oil paints anyway. I don't think I ever used an oil paint straight, even when I was training with them classically. What a mess. All right. Let me have a look at it. All right, that looks pretty good. I think that's good enough for now. Kind of want to see what happens to it. Like, give it a time to stiffen up because it's a little bit, whoa, damp. Anyway, so that's where we're gonna stop for now. Thank you for joining me, particularly if you are joining me in the middle of the night. And we'll do this again. I'm going to try to do this weekly. I'm just not sure what time. We'll figure it out though. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you had fun. I did.